es para mañana.
Eso está buenísimo.
Los esper-
Wake up with Judy and Terrell, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
With you. I'm Terrell Brown.
Yeah, we're on a little earlier again this morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Judy Sue. We are tracking the fallout from the winter storm. Our lower terrain is on the move in Indiana this morning. Roz is, of course, following any problems for morning commuters. But we do begin with Tracy right now and the latest on the snow. Tracy.
Well, good morning. And yes, as we talked much about this yesterday, there would be a sharp cutoff in accumulations, and that's exactly what did end up happening with Northwest Indiana once again bearing the brunt of what we did receive. Now, here in the city, that's where we continue to get some of this snow that is very, very light, and it is very, very fine, but it's over in Northwest Indiana right now that is continuing to see some of that snow. I think from about Gary on eastward, you're probably going to add maybe another 1 to 2 inches of accumulation over that direction. And probably we'll see this winter weather advisory stay in effect over in Valparaiso and Porter County until about 9 o'clock this morning. Meanwhile, LaPorte on east, we still have winter storm warnings that are in effect over that way. So we're going to sort all of this out for you, and that is coming up shortly. But we want to get over to Roz. And Roz, I know
that is our focus this morning, and that's where we still have some problems. And we're going to start with commuters in Northwest Indiana trying to get to Chicago. It's going to be a little challenging this morning because we've got some South Shore problems. No South Shore service whatsoever from Indiana into Chicago. They had power issues last night because of the blizzard. Trains are not going to be running. The Metro Electric trains will honor South Shore tickets.
And more than 200 slide-offs, but thankfully no fatal crashes. Live on the move, Laura Terrain, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Right, the vote.
President Obama may be looking at a Republican to replace Supreme Court Justice and Syrian civil war. The ceasefire is set to take effect on Saturday, but does not cover ISIS. And Vice President Joe Biden is leading our delegation to the annual U.S.-Mexico Economic Summit. He is in Mexico City with cabinet members for talks about trade that begin today. The vice president is also expected to meet with President Enrique Peña Nieto.
there would be a huge range. This was a storm where we could go forecast amounts anywhere from 0 to 15 inches of snow in the Chicago area, and that's exactly what we ended up seeing. So here's some of the snowfall totals. I will get more of these coming in as the morning goes on, and yes, we reached sunrise. 6 inches of snow in the Lansing area, St. John, Indiana coming in with 10 inches of snow there. Around Cedar Lake, Indiana, I did see totals up to 15 inches of accumulation there. Both O'Hare and Midway coming in with less than 2 inches of accumulation. Now here's a look at the current radar, and we still have just some gentle light flurries here in the city. I think this will continue probably for about the next hour to hour and a half. But in Northwest Indiana, you are still getting in on some of that light snow, and very likely from about Gary on eastward, you will add another 1 to 2 inches of accumulation. Another little extra band there down around Kankakee. But we have a winter weather advisory stays in effect in Porter County until 9 o'clock this morning. Meanwhile, winter storm warnings in place, LaPorte County on east and north until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Add to that, we have the lakeshore flood warnings in effect with these north winds over in northern Indiana. But here in Cook County, unlike yesterday, we saw lots of pictures of those huge waves and especially impacting along the bike path. We do no longer have that lakeshore flood advisory in Cook County. Now, here's a look at our high-resolution forecast model, and this is still holding on to some flurries around through the morning hours, as you can see. So I do think over the next couple of hours, we'll still see some of those in the city. I expect nothing in the way of additional accumulation here in the city, primarily still focusing that over in northern Indiana. Right now at O'Hare, it's 33 degrees. It's mainly cloudy. The AccuWeather real feel is 22 degrees. It's 32 in McHenry, 33 right now in Palatine, 35 degrees in Lombard, 36 in New Lenox, 33 in Coal City, 34 degrees right now in Gary, and 32 degrees currently in Valparaiso. So as for your forecast, well, we do enter some mild conditions that are going to be coming our way. And in fact, wait until you see the temperatures for the weekend. And it looks as though we're going to have unseasonably mild conditions coming our way here over the weekend once.
Are really decent right now. I checked with IDOT. Now, their pavement codes go from 1 to 6. 1 meaning completely clear, 6 meaning completely snow covered. And the expressways are all code 1 right now. So if anything, they might be just a little bit damp, but no problems out there. Not the case in Northwest Indiana. We are still, according to Indiana State Police, seeing a lot of snow-covered roads, primarily on the east-west roads. North-south, we've got a little bit of snow cover. We've got a snapshot of I-65 at Ridge, so you can see there's a little bit of snow on the far left, far right lanes in both directions there. And you really want to be cautious driving in because we have had crashes in Indiana. They're still dealing with this jackknife semi northbound I-65 at US 231. So we've got lanes blocked and we've got delays at that location. Let's take a look outside back.
Terrell Brown. Weather with meteorologist Tracy Butler. And Roz Varen's traffic.
Hours and snow still falling in some parts of that area this morning. We'll check in with Tracy and get an update in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah, right now we're going to check on the situation going on in Indiana. Sergeant Ann Wojcicki from Indiana State Police joins us now live on the phone, and she was out there on the scene all day yesterday. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello.
Sergeant, can you give us a description of what the conditions are like right now in Indiana?
Well, the interstates are open.
Nobody was killed. That powerful storm system is blamed for at least 4 deaths in Virginia.
ABC's Candace Gibson has a look at damage from this outbreak of severe weather.
ABC News, New York.
And now, in an exclusive interview with ABC News, Apple CEO Tim Cook says breaking into an iPhone belonging to the San Bernardino shooters would be bad for America, and he is willing to take his fight all on by tomorrow. President Obama wants Carla Hayden, who once ran the Chicago Public Library, to take over the library.
More hours, especially over northern Indiana. Now, here are some of the snowfall totals that came in, and it is just amazing how in a distance of 30 miles, we saw just completely opposite sort of snowfall totals. Cedar Lake, Indiana, one of the top totals, over a foot of snow there. Valparaiso, boy, you started with that snow early, and it just kept going yesterday and going. Cherville area, almost a foot of snow there. In Crown Point, at least 10 inches of snow. Look at the amounts at Midway and O'Hare. 1.7. And this is why I talked with you yesterday about how different it would be just across Cook County alone. Midway and O'Hare, 1.7. Then you get to Homewood, 4.5. Lansing, 6 inches of snow. Park Forest, 7 inches of snow coming in there. Well, right now we still have some flurries around the city, but it's still over in northwest Indiana where we're going to continue to see that snow for the next couple of hours. Around Gary Tor Valparaiso, I could easily see you adding another 1 to 2 inches of accumulation. And we have a winter weather advisory in effect until 9 o'clock this morning in Porter County, but winter storm warnings stay in effect. In LaPorte,